Well, how about this? Both are true, and yet neither are true. They're both symbolic and they're actual, and yet they are neither of the two in their entirety. And largely, and I'm not saying that to be a wise guy here, but largely because what we are talking about is ultimate reality, as is reflected in Dharmatatu, in shunyata, which is emptiness or profound openness. That is the ultimate reality of things. And when we talk about these others, and when we talk about really all of these five Buddha representations of various forms of awareness, we're talking about relative and conventional realities. And yet the qualities that they represent are real. Yeah, they're probably more real than everything else that we understand and see around us. It's hard to kind of, the rational mind cannot wrap itself around this stuff. And that's the other thing. If we're trying to sort of figure a lot of these things out by understanding with reason and intellect, and even more so with belief, yeah. If we need to know, does Amoghasiddhi actually exist? I would say, well, who wants to know? Who in you wants to know that? What part of you is needing to know that? And what part of you actually is already an embodiment of Amoghasiddhi in its relative sense? So, for example, Ratnasambhava, today's theme, the one who is perfect equanimity. If you have had the experience of resting your mind in perfect open equanimity, awareness that is pristine, it is mirror-like, it is bright, and it is equanimous. Or if you've been in a yoga pose where you're really feeling that sense of equipoise, perfect balance, and you're not getting angry at your body because you can't maintain the balance, but you're also not exalting and reveling in that you have the balance. You're just seeing both reactions as the same, in the same way that in meditation, you might see, oh, here's a good thought, here's a bad thought. This is more pleasant than that one. Oh, I like this, I don't like that. Yeah. Once we relinquish that dualism in our awareness, in our reactive habit bodies, and we're able just to see this is no different than this. This craving I have here for another good experience is no different than my aversive experience to my posture. This is just mental energy playing out a narrative. But in truth, awareness itself is not bound to those things. And so, just like Padmasambhava in the reading we did earlier, says that you don't need to create anything. You don't need to make primordial awareness do anything or be different. You just have to know it. You've already accomplished, in that moment, you've accomplished the wisdom of Ratnasambhava. And if that then moves you to act with generosity, which is the wholesome quality that Ratnasambhava represents, then you don't need to use Ratnasambhava as a yidam, yeah, an object of meditation, because you're now embodying it. You become that energy. Yeah, the other thing I'll say to your point, Michael, is that maybe this confuses things even more. But when we sort of realize this notion of unity, of shunyata, of one taste, we also see how this entire system is utter nonsense, that it is fundamentally ineffable. It can't be talked about in real terms, because it's still working here in the realm of relative. And at some point, we let go completely of all of these forms and explanations and the raft itself, simply to abide in awakening, if you will.